finished! There's these little angel boys pissing in the face.
Freak God that looks exactly like him. He's gonna piss on me forever! Anyway, the building I live in is really nice, and I'm not used to living in a nice place. So, like the first week I lived in this building, I went down to the courtyard. It's about a year ago, and I didn't look really very good because it was a Sunday morning, and Sunday morning is my least presentable hour of the week. I mean, this is me, you know, in a spotlight. This is me Boston Symphony Hall. This is me standing where, you know, people practice for years in a room next to a boiler. And then their father comes home and beats them. And they just keep doing it. And they grow up, they be a fry cook or something. And then they get to come here and just stand here in a tuxedo for like $10 and just go in the middle of a symphony. And so that's where I am. And I'm just wearing shit, but this is me trying, see? So Sunday morning, you know, I do this, and Saturday night is the prime time of my schedule. Like, in other words, you're not gonna get a very good show. And Sunday morning at noon, I look like shit. I'm just wearing sweat shorts and a t-shirt. You know, because it's like sweatpants that don't make it up anymore, so you give them get some kitchen scissors, give them another 6 months. All right, so I'm sitting in the courtyard, and I look across from the boy pissing thing, and there's another man standing there, and he's looking at me, and he's my neighbor. I don't know him yet, I've only lived there a week, but he looks really angry. He's staring at me, and I realize it's because he's rich, and he's got brown shoes. To me, that means you're rich. If you're wearing brown shoes, you're rich, because it means you can afford more than one pair. So he's looking at me, and I can tell what he's thinking. He's thinking, I don't live in the building, I just wandered in off the streets, which was fair. And he's thinking of coming over and dealing with me on his own. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, yes, please do that, yes, please. I want to experience that moment. So sure enough, he starts walking over, and I'm like, oh, this is so good. I'm so excited. He comes over to me and he says, excuse me, do you live in this building? And I said, no. I figured, let's start there. It's a fun place to start. He says, what are you doing here? And I said, I just need to rest. I'm having a hard time. He says, well, this is private property. And I said, I don't believe in that. Just the worst things from his point of view. That's everything I'm saying. He says, I'm going to go talk to the doorman. And I was like, oh, please don't, or whatever. So yes, well. And then I see him talking to the doorman about me like this. And then I see the doorman going, oh no, that guy lives here. And the look on his face, oh, it was so great. It's like he was having a feeling nobody ever had before. Like I had invented a new way to hurt somebody's feelings. I was so proud and happy. And he came back over to me and he goes, why didn't you tell me that you live in the building? And I said, because I don't have to tell you anything ever. I get to say whatever I want forever and ever. That's the rules. And also, you were enjoying it. I know that's your favorite thing to do. I don't want to ruin it. And also, I make more than you. I just don't give a shit about myself. He didn't say anything after that because the whole thing didn't really happen.
Well, I mean, okay, here's what really happened.
I will not lie to you anymore. The truth is, I was sitting in the courtyard and he was looking at me, but all that stuff, I just made it up in my head, like as an angry fantasy as I sat there looking at him. So to me, it happened. He's just looking at me and I'm like, yeah, go ahead, you dick, try to throw me out. Here's what I'll say. I'll say these 3 really cool things in a row. And you'll say all the right things to set me up because I'm usually also right.
But half the time you're talking to a person in real life, you make the shit up they say in your head anyway. I mean, it's the same. I've had a million altercations with people. I'm like, yeah, and then I tell somebody else a story, and then after telling them the story, I realize that's none of what really happened.
That's none of what really happens. Why am I doing this? I'm the biggest liar on planet Earth.
Anyway, it was just fun to look at the guy and decide all those things about him because that's what it's called prejudice. It's fun. It's entertainment. As long as you don't not hire folks, you're not really hurting anybody. It's just fun. But the truth is, he did finally come up to me and he said, "Are you new to this building?" And I said, "Yeah, I just moved here." And he goes, "Oh, welcome." He was so nice. He was unbelievably nice. One of the nicest people I ever met in my life. He's my neighbor, George. I've known him for a year, and I literally love him. I love him very much. And I get people kicked out of the courtyard all the time. I'm a dick. The doorman every day, dude, do your job. There's a poor guy right there. So, that'll tell you something. I was in my neighborhood one time and I was with my daughter and she was crying and I was kind of just watching her cry. I used to comfort her, but I kind of don't do that anymore because, I mean, I stay with her as she cries. That's what I feel my role is. I think it's a mistake when parents try to go like, no, stop, no, because she's right. You know, she's crying, and I'm like, totally, yes, that's the appropriate response to life right there. Let your kid access their feelings. Sadness is not a bad thing. I don't do that anymore. Like, oh no, babe, it's okay. I just go, yeah, look, I'd be crying too if there was anything left. Tear ducts are just rusty buckets, empty. But she was crying, and I'm just sort of there with her, and we're discussing something that's upsetting to her clearly, and some guy walks up, and I don't get recognized all the time, but I do sometimes, and this guy walks up to me and my crying daughter, and he just goes, hey man, I don't mean to be an asshole, but can I get a picture of you? And I go, no. And he's like, oh, sorry. And he walks away. And I've been thinking about him a lot because it amazes me when people do that, when they do something clearly rude, but the way they get away with it is by saying first, I don't mean to be an asshole, but rude thing. If you ever start anything by saying, I don't mean to be an asshole, but, you should now not do the rest. You should just go, hey, listen, man, I don't mean to be an asshole. See you later. That's the only version of that that makes any sense. Why does it get you off the hook to say you didn't mean? It's like, hey man, I don't mean to be a robber, but give me all your money. I don't mean to be a Nazi, but hey, you Jews. Wow, that was really Nazi-like behavior, but he did say he didn't mean to be a Nazi. So it's cool. I saw this old lady. There's an old lady who lives in my neighborhood, and I see her every day. She's always walking her dog. And, I mean, she's not walking. Nobody's walking. is just an old lady with a dog. She's just standing there. And the dog is just dog. Little old dog, and it's just, ugh. And they just stand there, and she's got these legs that are a nightmare. Her legs are like green and black, swirling, veiny things, and bumps and bones sticking out all jaggedy. Her legs are so awful. I saw a guy with no legs wheel by her going, ugh. I'd rather just have an air down here like that. I don't look down at that shit every day. Anyway, she's always out there, and they just stand there until at some random moment the dog just stuck. I see them every day, and every day I think the same thing. I think that I hope that she dies first. I do. I don't mean that I hope she's the next person to die. I mean I hope she dies before her dog. Because I don't want her to lose the dog. It would be too much. If she dies first, the dog, he's not gonna give a shit. This dog, he doesn't even know about the old lady. This dog is aware of 3 inches around his head. And he's living in 2-second increments. The second he's in and the one he just left is all he has. This dog is just misery in a rope. He's got a cloudy eye. He doesn't give a shit what anything is. He just wants it to be over. But if he dies first, this poor lady, she's going to be devastated at the loss of that dog, because that dog is all she has. And I know he's all that she has because she has him. There can't be anybody else because she has that dog. If she had anybody else, she would not keep this shitty little dog. If anybody was in her life, even just a young woman in her building one morning, good morning, Gladys, she'd be like, oh, good. She's just flushing down the toilet. The dog just keeps bumping on the drain. Just gives up. Just shitting on her dog. She dies like a year later. The cops are in her place. Hey man, there's a dog in the toilet. Seriously, there's a dog in the toilet. He's got like 1,000 shits on his face. So that's why I want her to die first. You ever flush a pet down the toilet? Flushing a pet down the toilet it's really a moment where you're basically admitting what's been going on the whole time. You've been feeding a piece of shit. My daughter's fish, I had to flush it down the toilet because it was looking at me. Guy was gonna make a move, I had to get it on. I was cleaning up my apartment and the kids were at school and I found a dead fish in the tank. And so I threw it in the toilet. There's always this one moment when you flush a fish down the toilet, you hit the thing and the water moves. So it's right the last second the fish looks like he goes, wait a second, shit! It's that moment of doubt. I was taking a nap! Jesus! Come on! You gotta be in constant motion, there gotta be respect around here. Then my daughter comes home and I gotta explain a dead fish to her. And you can't muster a whole thing for a dead fish. You just can't. A dog, you have a funeral, there's a big process. But a fish, you can't but be honest. There's no time. Why did my fish die? Because who gives a shit? That's really honestly why he died, honey. Because it didn't matter that he was alive. He didn't know his name and he didn't love you back. I took my kids to the aquarium here in town once, and I think aquariums and zoos are actually awful. They're very unnecessary and cruel. But I take the kids because as long as they're hurting the giraffe, I might as well look at it. So we went to the aquarium and we're looking at this seal or whatever, sea lion, I don't know. I don't give a shit what it is, I don't care. I don't care which one it is. It doesn't matter which one it is. They don't need to be a bunch of separate things. They really don't. They don't care and we don't really care. There's like 6 scientists who give a shit about sorting them out. The scientists could just show up one day and tell everybody, okay everybody, from now on, seals and sea lions and walruses and you know what, penguins, they're all seals. And we would all be like, okay, yeah. Fine, thanks. Bye. Got it. Anyway, I'm looking, there's a piece of plexiglass, and me and my 2 daughters, and there's a seal, or whatever it is, and he's looking at us, and he's going, ugh! They're really gross when you get close to them. All animals are pretty disgusting when you see them in person. You ever go to a farm, and you think you're gonna see a little white sheep going, mee, and they're all fat and shit-colored, and you're like, bleh. Jesus, what is that? It's a sheep. Bleh. It's like a shit dog, that's what it is like. Well, seals don't go, they go, it's like he was trying to tell us something. I'm a slave! Kill me! What a rotten life that is. Do you think that sharks would be embarrassed if they knew that their fins stick out of the top of the water all the time? I think so. I don't think sharks are aware at all that we can all see their fins sticking out. I think they'd be really bummed. Because sharks think they're slick. They swim up like, yeah, nobody has any idea that I'm coming. And we're all up here like, just totally the shark right now. There's a shark exactly in that spot. If you get a hold of a shark and tell him, dude, everybody can see your fins sticking out the top of the water, he'd be like, oh, that's a nightmare. It's the worst thing anybody ever told me. He goes to the tuna. Hey, tuna, how come you didn't tell me my fins sticking out all the time? So he's like, okay, first of all, I'm down here too. And second of all, why do you think I would help you? You're like the biggest dick in the sea. You ate my father. You ate both of my kids as they were being born. You ate them out of my wife's vagina. Like she was feeding you baby tuna out of her vagina. I bet that's like the best tuna. I bet that's the most delicious tuna you can get. That is the primo. Only at the finest restaurants. We will give you a baby tuna right out of the vagina of the mother tuna. It's the market price, I recommend it. Must be a drag to live in a food chain. You know, just being in a food chain, all living together in a food chain, you can just get eaten anytime. That sounds stressful to me. I don't think we completely appreciate the fact that we got out of the food chain. That is a huge upgrade to human life. That we don't have to worry about what every single animal has to worry about. That somebody might bite your face off while you're alive still. Any day it could happen. It probably will happen. Imagine if we added that to our already shitty lives. Being in the food chain would just be another thing to your just shit day. It's Tuesday morning, and you burn your toast, and then your teenage kid is rude to you, and then you get something in the mail that says they sold your mortgage to another company, and you're like, what does that even mean? And then you're walking to the train to go to work, God, why do I even bother? Oh, shit. I just hate, I don't want to be running. But we don't get eaten, not generally. Very few people get eaten nowadays. We just get old. We get old, we get sick, we kill each other, but we don't get eaten. Somebody smoking pot in here.
Yeah.
Asshole. I'm so sick of pot people. Legalize it. No. Okay? Why shouldn't anybody put any grown-up real fucking time into you going like that's important? Just spin around. Nobody gives that much of a shit about you and your highness. But the medical, yeah, there's one old lady in New Mexico that's using it medically. One old lady in New Mexico. Give her pot, everybody else shut up. I never thought. I mean, I play the Orpheum. That's like, you go there, smoke pot, and watch it. Like, talking about nothing that important. Food chain. That was done. Getting old. Everybody gets old. I mean, you're all doing it right now. You're sitting there getting old. I'm sorry about the chairs, by the way. I know they're terribly uncomfortable. It's not my fault. They're historically correctly uncomfortable. John Adams' back hurt all the time. And now so does yours. And these people, they all have to sit forward, facing like you're watching each other. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. There's people up there that lose me every time I walk that way. Don't you? When I go here, you tell me the show's over for me. It's really shitty. You get my back when I do that. I'll try to stay simple for the most part. Okay. Getting old. Some people don't want to get old. They want to avert old age and stay young. It's even considered like a noble thing. When an aging actress goes on TV and says, I'm just trying to stay young, everybody's like, yay! Good for her. We should all try to stay young. I saw an ad on TV for a cream that takes away your laugh lines. They literally said that. It just gets rid of those ugly laugh lines. Because any evidence of joy is just yuck. It's a really obnoxious thing to want to stay young because it means you want to live life and have it not change you. You want no wear and tear. That's really too much to ask. That's a greedy, shitty thing to want. You want the gift of life and nothing. You want to be like a god. It's really obnoxious and rude and ungrateful to want that. Because life is an incredible gift, even though it's finite and you turn into just a shit prune nothing at the end. That's still an amazing deal. Even a shitty, unlucky life is an incredible deal. When you get to really the boilerplate level of what life is, just the basic cable package of life, without wealth or even love, this is what you get. You get to be on Earth, and you get to just be here, just looking at shit. And you get to take a thing and put it in your mouth. You get to put caramel and bacon in your mouth and just stand there eating bacon. If you have bacon in your mouth, it doesn't even matter who's president or anything. You're just a being eating bacon. And then if you're a little more adventurous, just all that cool shit, you get to fuck people. That's free if you're smart. That's basic life. You could put your dick all the way in this place and go in and out. And if you're a woman, you get to just lay back and just have a dick just shove in and out of you anytime you want. Anytime you want. If you're a gay man, you get to bend your boyfriend over and just shove your dick all the way in his ass. All the way to the balls. It's all warm and tight in there. If you're a lesbian, you get to do what they're doing. That's the deal. You get to eat, you get to fuck, you get to read To Kill a Mockingbird. And some people are like, well, can I look 22 the whole time? No, you can't! I'm 45 now, so I'm either halfway through a healthy life or almost done with a shitty one. I don't know. I won't know where this was till I'm done. 45 is old relatively. I mean, everything is. Relatively is the stupidest phrase, word, anything to ever use. Relatively just means don't say anything. It was relatively good. Everything's relatively something to everything. Just don't say any words. 45 is young in terms of that, like if I died, people will be like, oh. Once you get past like 60, not so much. After 60, people are like, oh, okay, yeah, I see. Not a lot of candlelight visuals for like a 65-year-old guy who died. 45 is, it depends on how you took care of yourself. Because I've had moments at this age that feel like old guy moments. I'm surprised that I'm already having some of these moments. Like, I'll be watching TV or doing nothing. And all of a sudden I'll realize, I need to wipe my ass right now. Nothing happened, but I need to go wipe my ass. I have to make a trip to the bathroom just to wipe my ass. That seems early, I'm 45, and already my asshole just... My asshole's just like tired and... You need your asshole to be really... Alright everybody, let's hold together. You guys stay here till we're ready. But my asshole's like, I'm sorry. You guys are going? Okay, let's go. My asshole's like it's like the waistband on old pajama bottoms. Just kind of loose and ineffectual. My asshole's like a bag of leaves that nobody tied up. It's just full and open on the lawn. Just puking out leaves out of the grass with every wisp of wind. Some kid kicks it over on his way home from a tough day at junior high school. Raised. Yeah, I'm older than I thought I would be at this point. I have a lot of moments where, like, here's another thing from being this age. If I'm sitting in a chair and somebody tells me I need to get up and go to the other room, I need to be told all the information why first. You've got to really explain all that shit to me. Why? No, sorry. I don't get up lightly. I just don't. Even if people have told me, like, your car's being towed right now. Well, that's what's gonna happen today. I don't like getting up once I'm sitting down, because it's a whole thing. It's not just get up. First I have to decide, do I even want to really be alive anymore? And then, okay, then I gotta do this next thing, I guess. And then I gotta start rocking to get momentum. Like I'm trying to get a Toyota out of a snowbank. Thanks, buddy.
Worst part of my day is when I put on my socks. That is the worst part of every day of my life. There's nothing I hate more than putting on my socks. That will be the worst part of every day of my life forever. Even if there's a day in the future when my grandmother is murdered by my other grandmother. The worst part of that day will be when I put on my socks that morning. Because I hate it so much, because I have to take a sock. This is an unfair thing to ask me to do with this body. I have to get my hands past my foot. I start pushing. It's like folding a bowling ball in half. And I'm pushing all my fat into my vital organs. And I can feel all the systems failing. I start passing out like in a second I start. And I know that other people's lives are hard. I realized I saw an interview with Michael J. Fox, and he has Parkinson's, and he described brushing his teeth, and he said it's agony. It takes him 2 hours every morning to brush his teeth. I saw this, and I thought, okay, that's hard. That is hard. And so it came on the top. Still hard enough to get across. Sorry. It was not enough to know about your thing. Tell you what, I'll brush the teeth and you put my socks on. then it'll help. Getting older is, it's actually good getting older. Depends on what kind of life you have, but, you know, you get smarter when you get older. You get better at living. As long as you have two very important elements in your life, regret and self-hate. These two things are key to development as a human being. You need that. A lot of people tell you to avoid that, but don't. Every time you say to yourself, oh God, I'm an idiot, that means you're now smarter than when you did the dumb shit. That's positive. You wouldn't know you were stupid unless you were now smarter. Whenever people are like, you know, I feel like I make pretty good choices in life. Oh, Jesus, you're a moron. And you're never gonna learn. And regret, people that tell you to live without regret are assholes. Regret is how you fix shit. If you didn't regret, then the Wright brothers would have smashed the plane into a wall and it's perfect, let's just make those. That whole thing, as long as I love myself, that's enough. No, it really isn't. That's a criminally low bar you're setting. Please do better than that. If you live a life full of mistakes, you just get smarter. You get, you know, life is an education. If you're older, you're smarter. If I'm in an argument with somebody and they're older than me, I listen to them. It doesn't mean I agree with them, but I listen to them. If you're in an argument with somebody who's older than you, you should listen. Because even if they're wrong, their wrongness is rooted in more information than yours. So you should just listen. Like, how many people here are 45 or older? Please applaud if you're 45 or older. That's about 20 people out of 2,600. And the interesting thing about that is that there are like really way more. They're not clapping. There's like 1,000 people in here that fit that demographic, but they're not clapping because they're smart. Because they just know. They're sitting in the dark. I'm not clapping. I'm not to clap. How many people here are 40 or younger? Clap if you're 40 or younger.
Because they already see how dumb. Never do that. Never identify yourself in a crowd. Never. You don't know why I'm asking. 40 or younger, okay, burn them all. If you're older, you're smarter. It's not about your education, it's just experience. A 55-year-old garbage man is 1,000,000 times smarter than a 28-year-old triple PhD. Especially smarter than him, because he's been thinking about 3 things for like 20 years. He's useless. The garbage man, he'll tell you some shit. He's 55. He's had some experience. He went to the Cape one summer, he saw a dead guy floating in a motel pool. He took a bus to Montreal. He got a hand job at a fair from a miner. I mean a miner. A grown man that works in a mine. Dirty hands getting a hand job at a county fair. That's even worse. This guy's 55. He knows way more than the 28-year-old. He's seen history happen that he hasn't seen happen. He saw Nixon resign on live television. Me and those people that clapped, we saw the president cry and then quit being the president. You have no idea how weird that is. Today people are like, well, the president's kind of disappointing. Really? Our president wept like an insane person? And then got in a helicopter and flew away. And the whole nation just watched him go. And the rest of you know this happened because you saw a joke about it on The Simpsons or something, but it's not the same as being a living American when this shit happens. And I know that young people are getting offended, and you're sitting there and you're like, well, we have things that happen. We have things that happen. And we have those things. And that's true, you have those things. But see, we have those and Nixon. It's good to get older, depending on what kind of person you are. Some people have a great life right out of the gate, and some people get better with age. Like sexually. Right now, this is the best time of my life, actually. I'm 45. A lot of people wouldn't think that's the best time. It depends on what kind of person you are. This is 45, this situation works. This is not a fun kind of 17-year-old to me. But you add a little wisdom and income to this body, it starts to work. Some people are better off when they're younger. Young, skinny dudes. Best life ever is a young, skinny dude. They don't have to do anything. They just show up with a big Adam's apple and a smelly t-shirt. I'm here for the easy pussy for the rest of my life. So where do I go? Everywhere? Okay. But guys like me, it's tougher when you're young. And it gets better. That's why I like to make one of those "it gets better" ads for just dumpy young guys. Listen, man, I know it's hard now. You're vaguely heavy with no face. You have 0 value on the sexual marketplace. And you feel invisible to the girls at school because you are. But it gets better. Because you all get older, and you keep pretty much looking just like this. And they don't. Their options start running out at a terrifying rate, and you're going to be there. As long as you stay relatively washed and employed, you're going to become an amazing option to every woman. You're gonna be the branch that she grabs before she hits the ground. That's what it's about. It just takes time. You just have to wait for shit to get grown up. And for her circumstances to match your looks. It just takes time. It's just time. It's a formula to this, like pussy plus time over income squared. Everybody has their time. I mean, not everybody. There are people out there who there's just nobody for them. Yep. People love to say, there's someone for everyone. Nope. Not at all true. And stop saying it, because it's actually mean to those for whom it's totally untrue. There are millions of people out there who we've all just unanimously decided no one kisses them on the lips, not even one time. Nobody touches their genitalia ever, their whole life. They just wash it and then they die. And if you're feeling real bad for them, go fuck one of them tomorrow. Because you're welcome to do that and solve the whole problem right there. With all the kindness in your heart. Oh, well, go fuck one. Nah, I didn't think so. Everybody wants to be with somebody, you know? We're all out there looking, and people go on dates. I love when I see a date. Whenever I see a date, it makes me happy, because it means people are still trying. Because dating is us still trying. It's evolution. Dating is human evolution. It's how we evolve. We find each other, we find a mate, we find somebody who we want to upgrade our DNA with. Or we find somebody's DNA that really needs help. That's why whenever you see a couple and you're like, oh my God, he's a horrible person and she's amazing. She's extracting what's little good left out of his DNA and improving it. This is how we evolve. When you see a date, that's two people deciding where the human race is headed. Sometimes they'll start a whole new race of people. Like the first time an Ethiopian guy dates a Korean girl. There'll be a whole other kind of person. But it starts with the two of them deciding if they want to hang out together. Dating is a show of courage by both people on the date. Whenever you see a date, that means that they are courageous. First, he was courageous, traditionally. If the guy asked her out, he saw her and decided, I'm going to talk to her. Terrifying to say hello to a woman that you don't know. Because she might just walk away like you didn't speak. And oh my God, does that shit hurt. So you gotta walk up and you gotta say hello perfectly. That one word has so much pressure on it. Hello. It has to engage her, but not scare her. It's like trying to reel through the atmosphere without breaking up or skip off. And if he says it just right, hello, hi. And he goes, hello. Now they're talking. It works. So you really just play all this out. And then you say, hey, you want to 7 times 10? And then her courage comes when and if she says yes. The fact that any woman ever goes on a date with a guy is amazing to me. That is a massive, courageous, almost insane thing to do. That any woman ever says yes to a man is crazy, considering that we are the greatest threat to women worldwide. There is no greater threat to a woman than a man. I don't know if you know that, but it's true. Like 8 out of 10 injuries or bad things happening to any woman were done by men. We are their biggest threat, and they still go out with us. You know what our biggest threat is? Heart disease. That's it. It's just our own heart going through that. I can't do it. I can't believe women still give us a shot. Sure, I'll go out with you alone at night. What are you, nuts?
I'll get in your car with my little shoulders. Hi, where are we going? To your death, statistically.
It's unbelievable. Imagine to get laid, you had to go find a half shark, half bear.
Just, I hope this one's nice.
I hope he doesn't do what he's going to do. I love when I see a date. You know when you see a first date and you can tell it's a first date? Just the way they're walking together. They walk in, she's looking up at his face, kind of trying to figure him out. And he's just a mess. A guy on a first date is a mess. He's not a person. He has no discernible personality. He's just a mishmash of kinds of dudes that maybe she'll like. Just like a ransom note cut out of a lot of magazines. There's no cohesive human being anywhere. He's just like, just like a blind dick in space, just thrusting in infinite directions. And at some point in the night, he just punches himself out, gets tired, and she gets to look at him and makes a decision. The woman gets to decide the way the date goes. And if you ever see a date later in the night, you can tell how it's going by looking at her. Because a beautiful thing has happened, which is that she just decided quietly inside of herself, I'm gonna let him fuck me. She gets to do that. Something he said, and she's like, that was pretty good, he's gonna fuck me later. She already knows. He has no idea he's still trying all this shit. I am not dating much right now. I'm not. I dated for a little while. And I'm just kind of doing, I work and then I raise my kids. I'm just doing what I do right now. But I had like a month, because I've been divorced for 4 years. And it's great. I love it. Being divorced is my favorite part of my life so far. Easy. Every year has been better than the last for 4 years. And that's the only time in my life I can say that about that. And everybody I know who's divorced, it's the best part of their life too. On both sides of all the divorces I'm aware of. I'm not saying don't get married by any means. If you meet somebody, go ahead, fall in love, and get married, and then get divorced. That's when it starts to be awesome. Because you just get everything. It's the greatest thing. Because when you're married, it's like, marriage is like a larva stage for happiness, which is divorce. It's just part of the process. That's what I'm realizing now. Because my ex-wife and I, all I wanted to be was her friend, and now we're actually friends. We weren't even friends when we were dating. And now we're friends, and my kids are happy because divorce is forever. Marriage is for how long you can hack it. But divorce, nobody ever's like, oh, my divorce is falling apart, I can't take it. Divorce is like a piece of oak, it just gets stronger. My kids are with me for half the week, they're with her for half the week, and my kids are happy. I'm a good father. I'm a focused, attentive, and engaged father. You know why? Because I get to say goodbye to these kids every week. Every week. Oh my God, what a dream. Who wouldn't be a good father? For half a week, who can't do that? Every Wednesday I get to say goodbye, girls. Daddy's gonna go upstairs and pour whiskey all over his naked body right now. Filth until 10 minutes before you come back. That's why you're such a great dad. If you were here every day, I would have killed myself a long time ago. My kids went to summer camp for a month this summer. A whole month to myself. I hadn't been alone for a whole month, and I don't know how long. And a month is a long time to be alone. I didn't have any work, I didn't have any kids, and I thought, wow, I could do anything I want. I could go to Turkey. And just see what that shit is. I always wanted to do that. Just fly to Turkey and just come out of the airport and go, what is this shit? I thought I could go anywhere. I could meet somebody. I could go to Rome and meet an Italian girl on a scooter with sweaty arms. Or I could go to India and meet a woman with the thing, and she says, hello, and I'm like, oh wow.
father's like, you will not be with this man. And she says, your ways are old. And I don't know, whatever. But I didn't go anywhere. I just stayed home and went within in a bad way. It wasn't good. I met a lot of people in here that I shouldn't have met. I had a real Apocalypse Now hotel room kind of a month. And, one night I was laying in bed by myself. I hadn't slept alone in my house for a while. And I got freaked out. I don't know if you ever get like a weird night sleeping alone. It was hot. It was like 95 degrees this summer, and the air conditioning was broken. So I'm laying there with the windows open, and I'm just sweating. I mean, I sweat when it's 72 degrees. 95, there's like pools forming, cascading over the sides. I look like a time-lapse film of the Earth forming on the Discovery Channel. I finally fall asleep. And then like at 5 in the morning, I felt this, I felt someone touch me, like that. And I woke up, and nobody was there. But I was like, there's somebody here. You ever wake up in the middle of the night, and your heart's racing, and you're like, there's somebody in the room. So what do? You lay perfectly still. For some reason, these are the rules in your head. As long as I don't move, they can't begin harming me yet. Why would that be the case? Instead of the opposite of that? What, like there's a guy in your room with a knife and he's like, oh, I wish it would move so I could stab him. What is the logic there? There is no logic. You know why? Because when you wake up scared, you wake up stupid. Because your whole brain has not woken up yet. Only your idiot, just body protector reptile part of your brain has woke up. There's something here, there's something here. And then your rational brain wakes up too. What is your problem? Why are you? What is this? What is this? There's a person here that's scared of me, and it will harm me if I'm not careful. Okay, look, it's 2012, and we live indoors. So just go back to sleep. No, I touched my body like this.
That didn't. What? Who would do that? Who does that? Tell yourself any story with that in it. Who breaks into people's apartments and goes like this and then vanishes? What part is that of the crime? Make that work and I'll turn the light on for you. Okay, I'm sorry. As I'm having all these thoughts, I happen to be looking at a chair that's in my room, and it's very dark, but I can see that there's something on the chair. And I thought it must be a towel or a sweater. But then it moved. I saw it move. I really saw it. And I've never been so scared in my entire life. Everybody saw it. This guy's like, I'm sorry, you're right. I was so scared that I made a noise that I had never made in my whole life. I went, oh! And I was immediately so disappointed that that's the noise I make when the shit goes through. And I start hitting the lamp next to me, like I'm just hitting it, because I'm too scared. When you're really scared, you can't work little electronic-y switches. Because fear just turns your hand into a paddle. It just becomes just a blunt object. Anyway, the light went on somehow, and there on the chair is a cat. I don't have a cat. There's just a fucking cat on the chair. What is that shit? What is life doing to me? And the cat ran out the window. So he must have come in the window. That's what I figured out. He came in the window, walked on me. But in that second before I figured it out, I was like, there's just a cat now here. You gotta give your brain a break. The brain is not that good. People trust their brains too much. And people get things that are stupid. Like UFOs, apparitions, and they're like, everything I ever knew is different now. brain just take a shit for a second. You make that your first. It's like getting in your car and you try to start it and it doesn't work and you go, oh my god, no car ever started. That's why I don't do drugs, because I like to respect my brain for such a reason. I mean, I do drugs, but I don't. Like I got during my month off from the kids, I said, okay, I'm gonna smoke some. I had some pot from the 90s that I had throughout my whole marriage following. I just kept it in an old shoe. And I went into our whole life. We moved to a new house and we truck and stuff, and I would just be leaving my shoe. So I had it. So I decided one day, okay, I'm gonna smoke some pot, I'm gonna go see a 3D IMAX movie.
Jesus Christ.
Hi, which you gotta do it. I don't care who you are. You could be a Mormon mother of 8. Go see a 3D IMAX movie stoned out of your skull, because just the 3D IMAX logo before the movie, spinning in my high face, easily beats both my kids' births. Because those were great days, but nothing that happened ever made me go, oh my god! But I had to figure out how to do it, because when you're older, you can't, like young people are like, yeah, let's get high and go. But when you're 45, you're like, okay, where do I smoke the marijuana? And then how do I get to the theater? So I smoke, because you can't smoke in New York City, like outside. You can't like get high on the streets. There's no 1970s in New York. There's no barrel on fire. There's some dudes with a jug and a joint.
All right, Casey, we're gonna get high.
And it's not fun to get high in front of like a yogurt place. So I smoked in the house and then walked to the movie theater, which was a terrifying decision to me. I shouldn't have done it. Because I'm just walking down Broadway on a Saturday and there's just people and I'm like, ah! At one point I was walking against the buildings like a stone scared Spider-Man or something. And then I remembered that I had my phone and I was so excited because it was the first time I'd been high since phones. And I realized I could just put this on my face and nobody cares anymore. Because without this on your face, you gotta totally account for yourself. You gotta make all kind of blinking choices and stuff. It's really embarrassing. But when you do this, nobody cares. It's like a cloaking device. You can shoot the president and go like this, and you won't get caught. You'll be like, well, where's the guy? Oh, that guy's just on the phone. Don't bother him. When you have a phone in your face, you can do anything you want. You can say anything you want. You can just talk out loud. It's such a huge relief when you're high to be able to just walk around going, I'm not comfortable with anything that's happening right now. You can't do that without the square in your face. You can't walk around. I don't like anything that I'm looking at. I'm really upset. I didn't even go to the movie. I just stood outside of the theaters going, ha ha ha! I really recommend this, by the way, just as personal therapy, not when you're high, but in your regular life. If you're at work or shopping or doing something awful in public and you don't want to talk to anybody, you just want to get some feelings out, put this on your face and say anything you want. It totally works. Just being in a crowded toy store just going, no, I don't want to. I don't want to at all. These things have really changed life a lot. They've added a lot to our lives. They've also taken away a lot of things. Like the word hello is gone. Nobody says hello anymore. Hello was really a telephone word. It was a word because when you answered the phone, you didn't know anything about what was going to happen. The phone used to be a very opaque thing. And it would just ring. And you would just, if you were the closest person to it, you just pick it up and see what's going to happen. It might not have anything to do with you. So you just have to say something neutral. Because you didn't know who was calling or who they wanted to talk to. They might say something like, hello, is Bill there? No one ever says, is Bill there anymore. Now you know who it is. It used to be you just kind of went, hello? But it's like what you're saying is just words talking person. Because now you know who it is, and you know it's for you, and you know what they want, because they've been texting you for like 10 minutes. So there's no hold. Every phone call's like, I know, okay. These things are everything on it, and then you got the little camera on there, so that's where you put your memories down. You put them in here. You don't put them in here. You make it go in here, and then you put it in your pocket. That was at my kid's dance recital. My kid had this huge dance recital. She's 7 years old, and they've been working on this dance for 3 months. They've been rehearsing for 3 months. They didn't need to rehearse at all, but they rehearsed for 3 months. It was a very eclectic dance. She could have just said, okay kids, I'm gonna turn on the music and just get a scarf and just do whatever you want. What am I gonna say? But the point is that she works hard. So the parents are all there for support for their kids. And every single parent is doing this at the dance. They're all they're literally, it's like they're trying to block their view of their kid. Like some have iPads, everyone's like, I don't want to see my kid. I'm like very perfectly editing my kid out. And they're watching a shitty digital version completely, the kid's in front of your fucking face! And the resolution is unbelievable on the actual child. But they're sitting there grimacing at their phones and missing it. Why? Why do you need a bootleg of Caps for Sale? What is the value of this recording? You're not gonna watch it later. Never! No parent sits there and watches shit that they recorded and missed the first time. They just put it on YouTube or put it on Facebook. Here, you watch it. Take a nap for Christ's sake. Then they go back later and read all the comments. Oh my God! It's so cute! And guess what? They didn't watch it either. They didn't watch it. These kids are dancing for no one. Nobody's watching your videos. They see the first frame of a kid and they're like, oh, okay, it's nice, back to this. Nobody's watching your kids' videos, I promise. I'll prove it to you. Next time you take your kid's dance performance, take 1 second of it, and then add 20 minutes of just your own naked action. Just go in the bathroom and film your own anus. Open it and close it for 20 minutes. Attach it to 2 seconds of your child dancing. Put it on Facebook. Everybody will write the same thing. That's adorable! I think I see a future star! Well, it's been really nice talking to you guys. I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna do a couple more things, but I'm gonna leave after that. I'm just telling you now. Otherwise, I would leave, and then you guys clap, and I come back like, oh, okay. I'll just do it and leave. That's work for me. I've been very nice. I hope you're kind to each other as you leave the building. People, I think, generally are okay, you know, as long as they're okay. Like when things get difficult, people become difficult. People change depending on where they are. If you're at home, you're a nice person, maybe. But then if you're in a car, you're different. It's amazing how we have a different set of values. It's like when you have a different pair of sunglasses that you keep in the car. You have different values that you keep in the car. People behave in cars in ways that they would never let themselves. I was driving one time and some guy, I don't know, he didn't do anything. He drifted into my lane. And right out of my mouth, I went, worthless piece of shit. I mean, what an indictment. This is somebody's son. This is a human being. And I'm just worthless piece of shit. How do I think that I can feel that about a person and it doesn't leave me dirty afterwards? Things I've said to people. I was in an altercation with some guy who didn't hurt me, didn't do any actual harm to me, and I yelled, "Hey, fuck you!" Right in his face. How is that okay? You would never do that if you were in an elevator right directly next to a human being, and they like leaned against you for a second. Would you ever in your life turn right to their head and go, "Hey, fuck you!" You worthless piece of shit. No. You would never say that, but put 2 panes of glass and some road between you, and there's nothing you would not say to them. I hope you die! That's right, I'm a doctor and I hope you die. Because you made me go like this for half a second of my life. You tested my reflexes and it worked out fine. So now I hope your kids grow up motherless. I mean, it makes me wonder how we would change under certain conditions. I mean, what are people capable of, you know? Like, I like to think I have limits to how bad I could be. I would never murder somebody. I believe that. I would never murder somebody. But I would if I grew up in a different time. Like, murder is illegal, and it has been forever. And it's a particularly awful thing to get caught at. But what if murder was legal? How many people would we all have killed at this point? If murder was, like, I think the law against murder is the #1 thing preventing murder. If murder was legal or just a misdemeanor, like you get a thing in the mail, oh shit, they had a camera, there would be more murder. I don't know, I don't murder people, I don't believe in murder. I just have competing thoughts. They're not what I believe, but I think them. You know, I have a lot of thoughts that are not good, but they don't rule my life. But they're there. Like there's always like, here's the thing I believe, and then here's this other thing. And I don't believe it, but it's there. The thing I believe, and then the other thing. It's become like a category in my life. I call it, of course, but maybe. I'll give you an example. All right, like, of course, people who have nut allergies need to be looked after. We have to segregate food from nuts and keep their medication on hand all the time. Any manufacturer or server of food needs to be aware of deadly nut allergies. Of course. But maybe, if touching a nut kills you, you're supposed to die. Of course not. Of course not. Of course not. Of course not. I have a nephew who has that. I'd be devastated if something happened to him. But maybe. Maybe if we all just went like this for 1 year, we're done with nut allergies. Of course not. Of course not. Of course. Protect those people. Let them grow and live and have children, more people with that problem. It's the right thing to do. Of course, the Make-A-Wish Foundation is a wonderful organization. Of course they are. Of course. What does the Make-A-Wish Foundation do? They give a wonderful experience to a kid with a fatal disease. That's wonderful. Of course it is. But maybe giving a beautiful memory to a kid who's going to be dead in a week is a waste of time. Of course not. That's not how I feel. Of course that's not how I feel. Maybe you could find a kid who's living a long and shitty life and let him make a wish. I don't know. Maybe there's a kid with one leg and both his parents are dead and he lives in a shack, but he's strong as an ox. He's gonna make it to 90. Let him meet Lady Gaga one time. Of course, if you're defending your country and you get shot or hurt, it's a terrible tragedy. Of course. Listen, you all clap for the kids with the nuts dying. Okay, so you're in this with me now. You don't have to Of course, if you are defending your country and you get shot, it's a terrible tragedy. But maybe if you pick up a gun and go to another country and you get shot, it's not that weird. Maybe if you get shot by the dude you were just shooting at, it's a tiny bit your fault.